Socialist Party in Mr. Antonio Mwanza. Always a pleasure to have
you so much. I'm good, Comrade Zach, and good morning to all the listeners and those that are following us via various platforms like YouTube and Facebook.
Indeed. You've been quiet for quite some time. Were you still finding your feet in the Socialist Party?
No, I was social studies nara is stable, my grade 7. So now that's why I was busy. I took 1 + 1 = 2. So that's why I wasn't around. So very out my books. Night school.
Because Deputy General Secretary is not a small position. You need to have the right qualifications.
No, you need to improve your grade 7 certificate. So I was trying to do just that.
Good to see you.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be in this studio.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're looking good, as always.
God is keeping us. Our lives are very simple. We come from the compound, nothing changes.
Indeed. How is the Socialist Party?
Well, the Socialist Party is growing. Yes, we are working under very difficult circumstances. The police are not allowing us to have rallies, to have public processions. The police are not allowing us to mobilize. For the last almost 3 years now, from the time that President Hakainde Sami Hichilema got in power, we have not been allowed to mobilize. We have not been allowed to have public processions. We've not been allowed to do anything. But under these very difficult circumstances, we continue. We have been victims of abductions. We had 9 by-elections just a couple of months ago, and 3 of our candidates were abducted, 1 in Kabompo, 2 in Gwembe. Matters reported to the police, evidence given to the police, and nothing has happened. We've reported these issues to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Evidence has been given to the Electoral Commission of Zambia. Nothing has happened. We have seen our people being attacked and beaten in every by-election that we have had. We have seen our president, Dr. Freddie Membe, being slapped with various trumped-up charges that the state are failing even to prosecute. Every week, Dr. Membe has to go to court. Every month, Dr. Membe has to go to court on charges that the state is failing to prove and to prosecute. So it has not been an easy ride. It's tough, it's difficult, because there's no rule of law, there's no equitable application of the law, there's selective application of justice, and none of us is allowed to mobilize. So under these very difficult circumstances, we as a party have continued to garner support. You can see the traction in the by-elections that we have. Consistently, we have always been the main opposition in the by-elections against the UPND. Despite their violence, despite their abuse of state resources, abuse of state apparatus, we have continued to give the UPND a run for their money. So yes, it is difficult. Yes, we're having challenges, but yes, we'll continue to struggle for a better Zambia, for a Zambia where people can have food 3 times a day, for a Zambia where you can go to school, graduate, and get a job of your choice, a Zambia where you don't need connection to get a government contract, a Zambia where corruption is punishable, whether you belong to the political party which is in government or not, a Zambia where hard work is repaid, a Zambia where there's no selective application of the law, a Zambia where innovation, hard work, competitiveness rewards you, a Zambia where you are respected for being a Zambian and not for how much you have, a Zambia where opportunities are for everybody. We'll continue to struggle for that Zambia where people have water in their homes, people have got food in their homes, a Zambia where people have got access to medical facilities, a Zambia where we can all know that irrespective of who I am, I can work hard and make it, because this is a Zambia that gives everybody equal opportunities. So the struggle continues, aluta continua, Victoria Sete will continue to fight, and victory certain.
The Socialist Party seemed to have been overshadowed by events, political events that have taken place or arisen since the former head of state in His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu came back into politics. he's been the center of attraction, limelight in the political arena. Has this affected the Socialist Party in as far as mobilization and getting attention is concerned?
Not at all. I think President Edgar Chagwa Lungu is a former head of state. President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, as former head of state, is a notable figure, a very significant figure. And his engagement, his involvement in politics will always get traction. But that doesn't stop us from following our programs to fight for a better Zambia and to continue to grow our political party. And as Socialist Party, we have continued to work with everybody. As long as they have got their progressive ideas, we'll continue to fight and work with everybody. You have seen that at every juncture, when we feel that President Edgar Chagwa Lungu's civil, political, and the civic rights are being threatened, the Socialist Party has always stood by President Edgar Lungu. We have gone to the police, we have escorted him, given him solidarity, because that is one of the things that we do as Socialist Party, is to give solidarity to all those that are being trampled upon. We have continued to give solidarity to our comrades in the Patriotic Front when they are being harassed for no reason, when they are being slapped with trumped-up charges. You have seen President Dr. Freddie Membe, you have seen myself, you have seen leaders of the Socialist Party, all our leaders, the Secretary General, the General Secretary, the General Treasurer, everybody, all the senior leaders, we have stood with our comrades in the opposition, and will continue to do so. We're working with the church, we're working with the leaders of the opposition, we're working with the media, we're working with the civil society, and we're working with all progressive minds, and we'll continue to work with everybody as long as they are being treated unfairly and they're being harassed by the UPND. So there's no competition between us and the President Lungu. We are all fighting for a better Zambia, and we'll continue to work side by side.
The question is, which better Zambia are you striving for? Because according to the UPND, Zambia is getting better. Zambia is economically healing from what was left by the previous regime. And it's evident also that truly the country is getting back on the right path. And I think that Mopani got back into production, KCM on its way, debt restructuring nodded by by creditors, and also you can tell that I think there is progress. One of them is the recently commissioned or land breaking that took place of the dual carriageway. And all these are economic indicators that, to some extent, we are getting back into real production. So Zambia, from the outlook of things, is getting better. So which better Zambia are you looking at?
Thank you so much, comrade. I think if the UPND were listening to all the good things that you have said about them, even themselves are shocked. Where is Comrade Zach talking about all these positive things, positive indicators? Vadaba no daba wa UPND.
Why would they?
Yeah, so here is where we are. Is Zambia better than it was in 2021? The answer is no. And here are the indicators. Inflation has increased by 14.7%, meaning that all the prices of goods and services have gone up by 14.7%. The statutory reserve ratio, which is a ratio that is permissible by the Bank of Zambia in as far as how much money can be allowed by commercial banks to keep and lend out to people. The statutory reserve ratio has increased, meaning that today banks in Zambia have little money to lend out. The monetary policy rate under the UPND has been increased. In short, the cost of money has gone up. The interest rates of how much people are paying on every loan has gone up. So banks now don't have enough money to give out to businesses, to give out loans for people to invest. create jobs, create opportunities, and grow the economy. Number two, the monetary policy rate has gone up. So interest on all bank loans have gone up. If you are a teacher, una kaloni ku microfinance. Ndiwe teacher, una kaloni ku bank. The interest rate that you are paying has doubled. Meaning that today ndalama za chitabwanji zavuta. Ndalama za dola zavuta kulibe ndalama circulation. Let's look at the per capita income. Zambia has $1,468 per capita income against a recommended $10,000, meaning that Zambia is amongst the poorest countries in the world. Zambia is amongst the poorest countries in the world as it stands. Let's look at fuel. By UPND, paminana lubwera mboma, fuel is 17 kwacha per liter. Lelo fuel ni 35 kwacha per liter. Na funolida na chuka pa filling station kwendo faka fuel. Nizina 300 kwacha mina pokoshola madamu. 300 kwacha yanga ya mina pokoshola madamu munyumba na siya mulibe malaiti. Munyumba na siya mulibe unga. Munyumba na siya mulibe cooking oil. Vana si wanaende kuskuru. Madamu izina 300 kwacha. Na mpokoshola 300 kwacha. Kuti ni gule fuel, kuti ni bwere kuno ku radio station. And kwenda pa filling station. Fuel ya 300 kwacha nipasa 8.4 liters. 3 years ago, when President Hakainde Samit Lema, before he took over office, that 300 kwacha sebe yanipasa 17.6 liters ya fuel. So wanapeza fuel pa 17.5 kwacha.
Against what price per barrel?
We are at our lowest in terms of the fuel prices at per barrel worldwide, and we'll look at that. So fuel wanapeza 17.5 kwacha per liter. It's at 35.5 kwacha per liter. Wanapeza unga 127 kwacha. Unga is 350 kwacha. Wanapeza malaiti, connection fee, and the tariffs we are paying were manageable. Today, connection fee has tripled. The tariffs have gone up. So unga wa dola, malaiti ya dola, salad ya dola, mapotato ya dola, maonion ya dola, vakudi ya vonse va. When they were coming into bafola 10,000 kwacha per month. How many? Because even ise tina indotenga ma degree kuma University of Zambia, it is a few of us who managed to get that amount of money. How many youths are coming out of the colleges? How many youths are on the streets? How many of us bazunguruka muma road kugulisa nsuko, kugulisa chikanda, kugulisa tumatonje, and how many of them can afford to raise 10,000 kwacha every month just to raise a family? So has the price of electricity gone up, or it has gone down? It has gone up. Is the cost of fuel high or low? It has gone up. The poverty levels, when UPND came into office, our poverty levels were at 54.6%. Today, the poverty levels have gone up by up to 60%. Meaning that, tikatengana muno mu studio, tiambe kuberengana. Tiambire Thomas, tibwere Zaki, tibwere Antonio, tibwere Kalunga, tibwere my sister who is in the first room there, tikaberengana, tiri 10. Out of 10 Zambians, 6 are poor. 6 are struggling to meet their needs. This is the reality that we are looking at. Let's look at poverty levels, province by province, since UPND came into office, because we are talking about the indicators. These are the economic indicators. These show what the Zambian people are going through on a daily basis and how difficult it is for people today to raise their families. Let's look at the poverty levels under UPND. And here are the statistics. It is important that we look at these statistics, and these are the realities that
What's
Zambians
the source
are going
of your
through.
statistics?
So thank you so much for that question. So the source of our statistics, number one, is the Ministry of Finance. This data is coming from the Ministry of Finance. Number two, it is the Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMSTATS. This data is coming from ZAMSTATS. Number three, it is the World Bank and the IMF. This data is coming from those two institutions. Number four, This data is coming from all government ministries that give us the data on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, and weekly basis. This is the poverty levels, province by province. It has doubled or worsened under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema. And the situations in the country are getting worse. People have no food. People have no money. There are no jobs. Even when you have money, today, vametenzo ogula muri 100 kwacha mkaenda market, you can't afford to buy those same things at 100 kwacha vanenzo ogula. Tikachoka muno mu studio, tienti songezani tundrama tienti nato, tiende palevi mo.
And people
1,000 kwacha muzagula tuntu kumanja.
And people question to say politics of today does not offer solutions. You will list down all the problems. You will list down all the negatives. And people are saying, the opposition, can you offer alternatives? So how then would you better do it as Socialist Party? Because you are looking at all these indicators that have only happened in less than 3 years. And do you think that the Socialist Party, given an opportunity to be in government, they would actually turn around these things and in less than 3 years be able to better the lives of the Zambians?
That's a very important question. And allow me to spend a little bit of time on the solutions. The first solution is to realize that this country shall not be developed by foreigners. There is no amount of foreign direct investment that will come to Zambia that will develop Zambia. That is a non-starter. So it doesn't matter how many times the president has foreign trips. As long as control and ownership of the strategic assets of the state are not in the hands of the Zambians, it's a waste of time. Today, there's no Zambian who can go to the United States of America and own a mine or an oil field, or even have ownership of a strategic asset, such as land, in huge chunks. You can't do that. God has given us minerals, water, forestry, and a very young population. The majority of our people here are young people, and that must be our resource. So what are the key areas that we believe that the president must look at to deal with the issue of the economy? Number one is to cancel the IMF deal. Because the IMF deal doesn't bring development to Zambia. The IMF deal is about the balance of payment. The IMF deal is about raising resources to pay back the debt that Zambia has. And remember that when we're talking about debt, you should realize that PF debt will soon be surpassed by UPND debt. In 10 years, the Patriotic Front borrowed about $12 billion. In 3 years, UPND has borrowed $6 billion. And the Zambian people must be asking questions. Where has $6 billion gone to? What infrastructure development are we seeing? What industrialization are we seeing? What investment in manufacturing, processing, in energy are we seeing? There is nothing that is going on. The IMF deal has come with very stringent economic conditionalities that are not helping this country to move out of the economic malaise we are in to a productive economy that can create jobs and can create business opportunities.
What conditionalities are you?
Number one, austerity measures. Government spending has been cut.
It should be normal. No, IMF or not, I think that it's prudent that as a country we need to be disciplined financially.
Yes, but there is no country that can develop when you don't invest in agriculture, when you don't invest in infrastructure, when you don't invest in health, when you don't invest in education, when you don't invest in technology, in industrialization. That is where the money is supposed to go. So government spending on critical sectors of the economy, such as health and education, has gone down. We, as Socialist Party, we believe that government spending on education should not be less than 20%. That government spending on health should not be less than 20%. Today, if you go to a hospital, there are no drugs. Why? Because government spending on health has gone down. You go to the cancer hospital, it is not operational in the manner it should be operational. We've been told several times by the minister that now they're evacuating patients, taking them out of the country at a huge cost, all because government has no money to pump in the cancer hospital. We have people that are dying on the queues in hospitals without drugs. Ngati mwaenda kuma Levi Mwanawasa hospital, mwaenda kuma UTH hospital, muzapeza abantu wali pa mafloor, bagona pa mafloor, kulibe mabedi. Think of the situation, health situation in Monze, where Jack Mimbu comes from. Think of how bad the health situation is in Wengwa, where Bahaka in the Sami Chilema comes from. It is a disaster. So for us, solution number one, cancel the IMF deal. Invest in agriculture, invest in health, invest in education, invest in the social sectors that are critical to develop this country. Number two, you cannot develop any economy when the prices of fuel and electricity are beyond. It is not possible because the drivers of any economy is fuel and energy. It's fuel and electricity, the energy sector. Malaiti balundira. Fuel balundira.
Are those conditionalities
load shedding
by IMF?
Yes, I'm coming to that. Load shedding is increasing from 8 hours to 12 hours to 16 hours to another level.
But you know why?
I will explain again on the issues of electricity. Because sinifuna boza pano, nikasiriza, nifuna Mazambians bazive that load shedding has got nothing to do with the water levels in the Caribbean. And I'll explain those things. The IMF has given this government a condition that we have to review the fuel prices on a monthly basis. Okay. We have advised the Socialist Party that that's wrong because it doesn't promote stability. It disrupts planning. It disrupts implementation of business objectives because every month fuel prices are being adjusted. We have told them, can you go back to review of the fuel prices on a quarterly basis? They can't go back. Why? Because the condition the IMF has given them is that they have to review the fuel prices monthly. You remember when President Hakainde Sami Ichilema when he appointed the permanent secretary for energy, that should be Mr. Peter Momba.
Yes.
He instructed him that I want you to revert back to the 3 months review of fuel. And I laughed. I said, but Mamdala, Palima story, Palima jokes.
That was
cosmetic? It was a joke. No, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was a very dry joke.
So you mean he didn't mean it?
He didn't. He has no control of this economy. It is in the hands of the IMF. He has no control. Even fertilizer, the amounts of fertilizer they have to buy, the amount of fertilizer they have to distribute, the amount of money they have to spend on fertilizer has first to be agreed by the IMF. And this is the reason why when Zouza Bantu Zamba pass my fertilizer 12 bags a farmer,
why would IMF put such conditionalities?
That is how they operate. They're the Bretton Woods institutes, they are capitalist institutes. They're here to make sure that they bleed you through the nose and they get away all your assets. That's their job. They have not come here to develop this country. The IMF is not here to help us grow the economy. The IMF is not here to create jobs for us. The IMF here has got one primary goal: balance the payment side of our trade and make sure that the money goes back to them. So they have been told you can only spend this much on fertilizer. Today, fertilizer mameda. Okay, let's look at energy, electricity. One of the IMF conditionalities on electricity has been that Zambians must pay a cost-reflective tariff. And we have no problem Zambians paying a cost-reflective tariff. Zambians understand that we need to invest in the energy sector, and they support government's interventions and government programs to increase the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. But let's look at the facts. Zambia's electricity is hugely consumed by the mines. The mines which are run by foreigners consume 60% of all our electricity. 60%. And the mines are paying subsidized tariffs. And Zambians are paying cost-reflective tariffs. What a mismatch. Your own people are paying through the nose. Foreigners are paying for cheap electricity, and your own people are paying for expensive electricity. You have heard the story of no kuli load shedding because kuli drought. Drought inabwera liti. Drought inabwera liti. If we go to the Zambezi River Authority today and check the water levels, and remember they're only talking about Kariba, but we have Kafue Gorge lower. Why are they not talking about it? We have Liswasi. Why are they not talking about it? We have the Bangwewulu solar project, Ngonye solar project. Why are they not talking about all those things? Why do they want just to be talking about the Kariba? Because they think we don't read. They think we don't know. They think we are daft. If you go to the Kariba water authorities today, you find that the water levels that we have today are slightly higher than the water levels we had in 2021. And we didn't have this kind of load shedding. So this load shedding is not as a result of the drought. No, the effects of the drought have not.
So what is this all about?
This load shedding is because this government is exporting power at the expense of the Zambian people. Bagulisa bamalaiti ku Namibia, bagulisa malaiti ku Congo, bagulisa malaiti ku Botswana, apa bafuna kuyamba kugulisa malaiti ku South Africa. We have advised them, you can't be selling electricity at the expense of your people. You must first fulfill the local demand. After that, the surplus is what you sell. Bangamvere, basami, sibamvera. Tinaruba uza pankani ya mirisi. You can't sell mirisi yonse. Muzaleta njala muziko. Banamvera basami, sibanamvere. Tinaru kubauza, bazedenesi, balibe capacity, yochita produce mirisi, kuchita produce unga, wamenonga chite feed bantu wa Mzambia. Lelo, nipa mine bavomera kutino zedenesi has no capacity. But they couldn't listen. Why were they so hell-bent at exporting all our maize? It's because they are the ones who were eating. And they're very smart, eh? Sibaja bakawala la batu kwacha. Vajato obwera parodi, vampita muri bazimayo osauka, banyonga matu kwacha, muri tumabuthi, banyonga matu kwacha. No. Aba ni smooth criminals wali parevo inango. So they use legislation. They use government legislation to steal. When they were exporting the maize, they removed the export duties. When they started importing the mini meal, they removed the import duty. So they're maximizing profits on themselves. You talked about the issue of date. And I've just told you here that under President Hakainde Same Hichilema, Zambia is yet to contract more debt than any other government has contracted in the history of this republic. We are already at $6 billion in Congole within 3 years. Imagine how much we are going to have as debt by the time that this government is leaving office. And I've asked a very simple question. What have they used this debt for? They can't point at what they have done with this debt. The debt that we had on the fuel side. Remember that they were saying that the PF, Vanasi and Ngongole, za fuel. That is what they were saying. Now, let's look at how much.
800 million.
No, it was Boza. So, Ijaka, uyumfana wanga naenda ku Tanzania, uyumfana wanga, what is his name? My young brother,
Deputy High Commissioner.
Yes. Oh, yeah. My young brother,
well, for your own information, he is live and is saying warm greetings from Dar es Salaam.
Thank you. And we miss you.
He's following the conversation.
Bro,
right
we
now.
miss you. We miss you. We love you. We miss you. And please keep safe in Dar es Salaam. And we are looking forward to seeing you. It's good to hear from you, and it's good that you're following. The Minister of Finance was in Parliament, and he gave us the figures. The figures were $400 million of debt. There was no $800 million of debt.
On fuel?
No, it was $400 million. And we can go back to Parliament and get the transcript from Parliament. It was $400 million US dollars debt. Today, it is $800 million US dollars debt. So within 3 years, the debt that UPND has contracted on fuel alone has doubled from $400 million, which they found in 2021, to $800 million now.
What do you mean? Because this government has been paying that debt which you left. So how then does it get to 800?
They are at $800 million. These are the latest statistics.
So are you saying
$800 million?
They haven't been paying for that debt that they say the PF left?
They've been contracting more, from $400 to $800 million. That's double, 100% increment. And this, I challenge the Minister of Finance, Honorable Stumbeko Msekotwane, to go into Parliament and tell the Zambian people on the floor of the House how much debt we have in fuel, on fuel. It will be $800 million. Let's look at one of the things that you said, the debt restructuring. I want Zambians to look at what we need to pay to restructure our debt. First of all, credit must be given to the previous government. In 2020, through the IMF and the World Bank, they agreed, because of the COVID-19 that we had and the droughts that we had. By the way, Zambia has had a drought every after 4 years from 1978. The records are clear. And this government was told way before that there will be a drought because of the El Nino. And because of the pattern that every after 4 years, there's a drought in Zambia. This has been the way the weather pattern has always been, from 1978 up to date. Let us look at how much we are going to pay. We will pay more, way more than what we borrowed. There's a non-disclosure agreement that government has entered into with the lenders. We don't know the contents of that non-disclosure agreement. If you look at the statement that came from the lenders, the IMF and the World Bank, they have stated there that certain state assets are at risk if Zambia does not meet its side of the bargain. So we need to look at the details. How much are we paying? For how long are we going to pay? And how much are we going to lose? And while we are dealing with the issue of debt restructuring, we have a government that is incurring more debt. More debt. Their friends incurred 12 billion US dollars in 10 years. They have incurred $6 billion in 3 years. By the time we reach 2026, we will have more debt contracted under the UPND and not less debt. So we are not coming out of the debt trap. We are going deep into the debt trap. You've mentioned the issue of infrastructure. For us, infrastructure is key. And that infrastructure should be infrastructure in terms of technology, infrastructure in terms of schools, universities, clinics, hospitals, roads. And you picked one very good example, the Ndola dual carriageway, which I'm told that the president has commissioned twice. I'm told he went to commission it, and I'm told he went again to commission it. The Ndola dual carriageway is a project that we need, and we fully support any interventions from the government to build the Ndola dual carriageway. But we have a challenge with the manner in which it has been done. First of all, we are using our own taxpayers' money, Zambia's taxpayers' money, through NAPSA and the Zambia Workers' Compensation Board. We have pumped in 600 million US dollars of Zambia's own money to build a road. This contract has been given to foreigners. The foreigners will build the road using our money. After they build the road using our money, they will start collecting toll fees for the next 23 years. That doesn't make sense.
And our money is attracting interest. It's a good deal. It's a good investment.
It's not a good investment at all. It's not.
Because that
money
and workers' compensation are not getting principal. No. They are getting principal plus interest. No?
Remember, that money is being taken out of this country. The 23 years of toll fees that will be paying, that money will be taken out of this country. It will not be sitting in Zambia. It will not. It will be taken out of this country for 23 years. This is akin to this deal. In Natengandrama Zanga, Naitana Zach and Company Construction, Zach and Sons Construction Company.
You loan me the money.
No, I tell you, build me a house, and this is the money for building the house. You finish building my house using my own money, then you start getting rent for the next 23 years. What kind of investment is that? The proper investment, that is a win-win investment, should have been, number one for us, is that the contract to build that road primarily should have been given to the Zambian companies. We have enough Zambian companies that are able to build roads, that have been building roads. If they don't have the capacity, whether it's technological capacity, whether it's a human expertise capacity, you partner up with a foreign company. You give them the money to build a road. They charge you for the labor, for everything, and you pay them. And NAPSA takes over the collection of toll fees for the next 23 years. That money remains in Zambia. But to allow a foreign company, you give them money, they build a road, and for the next 23 years, bakazitenga ndalama from Zambia, they take that money away. Doesn't make any business sense. It is morally bankrupt. It is also very unpatriotic for any government to sign such a deal. You can't go to China, America. You can't go to Rwanda and say, I'll build a road using your money. Even for South Africa, for South Africa, to go and build a road in South Africa using money from South Africa, and say you'll be collecting toll fees from South Africa for the next 23 years. They can't allow it. They can't allow that deal in Botswana. They can't allow that deal in Rwanda. They can't allow it in Tanzania. It's only here where we allow a deal where we rip off our own people. So for us, number one is that all businesses must be owned primarily and controlled by the Zambian people. You can't control what you don't own. All government contracts primarily should be given to the Zambian contractors, Zambian suppliers. That's how you create jobs for the economy. That's how you create market for the economy. That's how you create capacity for the economy. That's how you improve the capabilities of the local investors. That's how you grow the economy, and that's how you create jobs. Let's just look at one simple component, CDF. Number one, the minister himself, Bastumbeko. In his constituents, Vatulika, at bantu bakuba ndalama za CDF. Mu constituency ya minister of finance. And I was in his constituency. Mungalire bazaki ngati mwaenda ku constituency ya minister of finance. Mungalire. Kulibe road, kulibe manzi, kulibe network, kulibe viri vonse. Ku constituency ya minister of finance abene bachipawo. Palibe vane vichitika. Mangala chemu lusanga kumwatina makofi na mafanda. Kulibe vane vichitika kumunzi kwa bene bachokera. CDF, first of all, is the issue of management. For us, we don't believe that increasing CDF without increasing the capacity of the local authorities, without increasing the controls of the local authorities, without increasing accountability and transparency can produce results. It can't. That's why muno mu Lusaka mwentiriri tikafusa abantu, any member of parliament in Lusaka, we ask him, iwonatenga 27.5 million ya CDF and wabotenga 30 million ya CDF. Show us the projects that you have done under CDF. Show us the cooperatives that are benefiting from CDF. Show us the clubs that have gotten CDF and they're doing well. They are now producing things. They are selling goods and services. Because the capacities, in terms of capacity, in terms of investment, those are the areas that government must improve. What they have done is to get money from the line ministries and take it to CDF. How can you have a CDF where the Minister of Local Government walemba chimemo ati wonse gulani malandi cruiser, wonse mangani mapalasi ya chiefs, muliko palasi ya chief Lusaka, wonse mangana ambulance, gulani ambulance, wonse mangani toilet? You can't. CDF was meant for community projects. Allow the community to make a decision of what they want to do with their money without the interference of memos that are coming from the Ministry of Local Government through the minister. allow the capacities of the local councillors, the local councils, the ward development committees, constituency development committees to be improved. Capacitate them, build their capacity to run this project in a professional manner, in an accountable manner, in a transparent manner. That is not happening. The record that has come now, because the IMF and the World Bank have been on them, on CDF and on the FISIP, the Minister of Finance has been forced to call for an audit of CDF funds. Because what is happening with Zach is CDF wamaenda makada ba UPND wapanga tuma cooperatives. Wakaenda ku office, batantama, batenga ndalama, bagavana. Waenda che panja, wakachoka che office, waenda panja, wakala pa chimtengo, batenga za ndalama za CDF bagavana, zaenda. There is no one who is paying back CDF money that they are getting. No one. Baleyakana, and they are taking the money out. Now, look at this anomaly. The minister again himself, the Minister of Finance, has told us that there's, through his secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Nkulukisa, that we have 14.4 billion kwacha that is sitting. 14.4 billion kwacha that is sitting unused. Yes, CDF. It is sitting where? In foreign banks. Who are making money? Foreign banks. Is Zambia making any money? Zero. Is that money sitting in this country? No. That money is being externalized. How many banks do we have in this country? How many banks are controlled and owned by the Zambian people? We have Zanaco where we have shares. Tina Invest Trust yamene inagwa. Tenzena Zambia Industrial Development Bank. Yamene, it is moribund. There's nothing that is going on. There's no investment in industrialization. There's no investment in manufacturing. There's no investment in processing. Everything that we use, including my toothpick, we are importing them from South Africa and other countries. We have Indo-Zambia Bank. Those are the banks where Zambia will have shares. Our policy as Socialist Party is that all government transactions, the money should be sitting in Zambian-owned banks. That's how we grow the portfolio of these banks. That's how we grow the money for investment, so that you can have, the banks can have the money to give out loans. You can't be getting all money that is coming from transactions in this country is sitting in foreign banks, and foreigners are taking that money, shipping it out of the country, and us, we remain with nothing. That is not our policy. Our policy is that all monies, all government transactions, all the monies must be deposited in Zambian owned banks. And we also believe, because you can imagine, Razak, we have a finance and banking portfolio of 12 billion US dollars. 12 billion US dollars. These foreign banks which we are seeing around, they are playing 12.6 billion US dollars is in circulation, finance and banking. And how much do we have as Zambians? 2% of the 12.6 billion of our own money. 2%. How many people today can go to a bank and get a loan? How many people today can be eligible to get a loan? And at what rate? How do we deal with these issues? Allow the Zambian people to form their own banks, and government should be there to support them. How do you support them? By making sure that all government transactions must be sitting in our own banks. You talked about the issue of solutions. I've talked about the IMF, I've talked about CDF, I've talked about the energy. Let's look at energy, because it's a solution.
So is CDF a good project? Is it
not in the manner they are doing it? Well, it is not producing results.
Well,
it
forget about how they are doing it. But do you feel that it is well intended in terms of the fact that you can increase it and take money to the people as is? Of course, increasing and taking money to the people is another thing. How they are distributing it or implementing it is another. But my concentration is, do you think that it's a good idea?
Not under the UPND framework. It was a good idea under the framers of the CDF. That's why the amount was small, the projects were small, they were community-based, because they were cognizant of the fact of the limitations in terms of capacity, human capacity, technological capacity, accounting, and transparency. They were very cognizant of that. It is not correct under the way they're doing it, because they're getting money from the line ministries. So mukaenda ku Ministry of Health kulibe ndalama. Kwa ndalama zinaenda ku CDF. Which is being misappropriated, misapplied, and which is being wasted. So ndalama zinazofunika kwenda ku hospital kugula mankwala zinaenda ku CDF.
So increment should have been gradual, is what you're saying.
No, so these guys, they don't know. Governance in Kupunzida, awas wanapiteko governance. What they needed to do was, first of all, to look at what are the priority areas. For us, as Socialist Party, the priority areas are: one, food, agriculture. So that should have been number one priority area: food security, increase the food productivity, increase the food security, and make sure that you create jobs, hundreds of thousands of jobs through agriculture, because it accounts for 72 to 80% of the people that are working are directly working from agriculture. They are not investing in agriculture. They should have removed all the export duties on agro inputs and agro outputs to make it cheaper for the Zambian people to buy inputs and to make it cheaper for the Zambian people to export outputs. They're not doing that. They should have made technology transfer as a primary goal in agriculture. They should have made the training and the recruitment of extension officers to be primary goal. They should have made the manufacturing of agro inputs, chemicals, seeds, fertilizer, to reduce the cost that we are spending on fertilizer, spending $354 million on fertilizer, contracts that are single sourced and given to their friends, single sourced, against the campaign promises of President Hakainde Hichilema that there will be no single sourcing. There are single sourcing contracts in fertilizer, there are single sourcing contracts in mining, there are single sourcing contracts in agriculture, there are single sourcing contracts in health. Everything, Baleakana.
What is your policy on mining?
Yeah.
So as Socialist Party.
So number one, so food they should have those priorities. Infrastructure. If you look at the 2023-2024 national budget, they have put 137 million as money that is going towards infrastructure development. Kwangala izi ndalama izi Faith Musonda zamene ndalama nakamba kuti anampeza nazo na banzake bamene bakamba kuti banaba ndalama bamene banamizira kuti anaba ndalama, because kawalala ni when you are convicted, ngati sunachitwa convicted ndiwe chabe suspect. They can even put the money together and the government budget towards infrastructure looks like a joke. They should have made infrastructure, especially when it comes to technology and industrialization of this country, as primary goal. They're not doing that. Let's look at mining, which is a critical area. So now, let's look at statistics again. Vazaki, Murungu anatupasama minerals. Zambia is blessed with cobalt. Zambia is blessed with copper, sugilite, manganese, gold. And yet Zambia is one of the poorest countries on earth, with 6 people out of every 10 people having no access to food. As we are speaking right now, there are 3.6 million Zambians that need humanitarian aid. 3.6 million Zambians, 3 million Zambians want humanitarian aid. As we are speaking right now in this studio, 1.6 million Zambians are facing starvation. As we are speaking right now. But you have gold, copper, sugilite, cobalt, but you have no access to food. You have no access to water. You have no access to electricity. Where do we go wrong? It comes down to what we have said continuously as Socialist Party. Who owns the mines? Foreigners. Who controls the money that comes from the mines? Foreigners. You have heard some ignorant story, halabaloo narrative that is being pushed that Zambian people cannot own a mine. Zambians cannot run a mine. Really? Let's go to KCM. Out of the 100% people that have been employed at KCM, 99.9% are Zambians. 9% are Zambians. Everything that is going on is Zambians. That's what I'm going to. It's the Zambians that are doing all the mines as Zambians. Yes, we do. For us, we don't believe in nationalization, that mines should be given to the state to run. No, we don't believe in nationalizations. On equity says. How are these companies that are coming into Zambia doing it? There is no company which has come to Zambia to invest in Zambia which has come with money. Not even one. Let's take for 1.2 billion US dollars. And I was in this studio, shown 250 million US dollars, blah, blah, blah. I was in this studio sitting in this same chair. I said, Bazak, ni story yo. Where are we today? With Vedanta. Story. Vedanta, as we are speaking right now, is looking for investors to pump in $2 billion. They don't have the money. Vedanta has $12 billion date. They don't have the money. Vedanta is now planning to even sell their shares because they don't have the money. What do they have that we don't have as Zambians? You used to go to the bank and get collateral. It's what to get a loan as collateral. President Hakainde Samichlema at his house there, Kushantumbu, when the Jerabos from the Kope Belt visited him, what did he promise them? But President Jerabo inenganaba president nkamipera mining licenses so that mwaonfyayo mining licenses mwayakuma bank bamipera loan, because that is what all the foreign investors are doing. There is no single foreign investor who comes to this country with money. Zero. I challenge Honorable Msokotwane, I challenge President Hakainde Sami Ichilema to point at one investor who has come to Zambia with bags of money to invest. Zero. All they do, they come here, they use our money, they use the contracts we give them as collateral to go to the banks and get the money. And this is what Vedanta is trying to do. This is what those that have tried to buy more, that have bought Mopana are trying to do. This is what everybody has been doing from 1890 when we started mining. The foreigners are coming with nothing. What they do, they come here, we give them the mining license, they use that mining license, they go to the banks, they get the loans, they come back and invest. But where are we going wrong? Can you imagine mining accounts for 80%, 75 to 80% of all the export earnings that we have as a country, yet it only contributes 14.3% to the GDP. What a mismatch. What a mismatch. Why? It's because all the money that is coming from the mines is being siphoned away. Zambia is losing 3.2 billion US dollars annually, $3.2 billion out of illicit financial flows. There's tax evasion, there's tax avoidance, there's price transferring that is going on. And it's not my words. Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRI, has agreed publicly that they are failing to tax the mines properly. They have even gone as far as telling us that they are failing to get money from KCM and Mopani, that they have no capacity to tax the mines fairly. They don't have it. So our money is going out. What do we propose as a solution? Number one is ownership. We don't believe that foreigners can come here, own all our mines, mine everything, take it away and leave us with nothing. We believe that the Zambian people must own significant shares in the mining sector. They buy shares, they buy equity in the mining sector. 51% of shares must belong to the Zambian people, not government, but the Zambian people. The businessmen, businesswomen must be the ones to buy those shares in the mining sector. Some people will say, no, but they don't buy. Yes, because first of all, do we have a ministry of mines that sits down with the Zambian businessmen and negotiate? They don't. The only thing that they have is to go outside to look for foreigners to come here and invest here and make money. So number one, ownership. For us, as Socialist Party, we believe that the ownership, the majority shareholding must go to the Zambian people. We have no problem partnering with foreigners. Zambia is part of the global village. Zambia is not an island. We live in the global village. We must interact in the global village. And all foreigners are welcome to do business in Zambia. But the ownership and control of the strategic mining assets must go to the Zambian people, not to the foreigners. That's number one. Number two, we want to do geological survey for the whole country. We want to know.
Which this government is doing?
No, they have put in 130 million kwacha. We need $3 billion US to finish a comprehensive 3 billion kwacha to do a comprehensive geological survey. They have put 130 million kwacha in the budget.
Well, the point is
130 million kwacha in the budget.
The point that is that they have started
against the 3 to be specific, against 3.67 billion kwacha that we need to do the geological survey. It shows you where their priorities are. They are not in the geological survey. So for us, we want to do that. It is important. We want to know each area. Nikut community na minerals, nikut community na mine, nikut community na gold, copper, diamond, all these things. What are they doing to Sujilite, Vazaki? Sujilite. What are they doing? What's the price today of Sujilite on the market as we are speaking on this radio station? And what is it that they're doing with Sujilite? Baleakana. What is it that they're doing with gold? For us, we believe that gold must be treated as a strategic asset and that it should be used as a medium of foreign exchange reserve to boost our foreign reserves. They're not doing that. We believe that no company must do the mining here and take our mining products in their raw form, in their best form, and take them out of the country. That is, we're against that, because every copper ore that you have, when you get copper ore, there are different types of minerals in the copper ore. And when you allow them to get it in the raw form, we as a country are losing. We believe they must invest in manufacturing and processing of all these mining firms. We also believe that all the proceeds that are coming from mining must go to the Bank of Zambia and must sit in the Bank of Zambia. They must accrue interest, they must accrue profit, because we need that money to invest in this country. We believe in closing all the loopholes that they're using to evade tax, to avoid taxation. And we in government, we shall cancel these tax holidays that have been given, because Zambia is the one which is bleeding. We shall cancel these VAT tax refunds because they are using it for transfer pricing. They go and buy these things from their own subsidiary companies, bring them in Zambia with inflated figures, and we, using our own money, we start giving them back the money that they have stolen from our country. We're not going to allow that. So ownership of the mines, 51% must be minimum. 51% must go to the Zambian people. Ownership of the mines, control of the mines, 51% minimum must go to the Zambian people. There is no getting mwakumba mwapereka vakudya vasiya vimaigodhi kuno kulibe. We need to invest in processing. We need to invest in manufacturing here to add value to what we are selling, to create jobs for our people, to create business opportunities for our people. That's the only way you grow the economy, and to make sure that they pay a fair share of taxes.
Antonio Mwanza, Deputy General Secretary for the Socialist Party, is my guest today on the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on 5FM Radio, also live on Tuta FM in Mansa, covering Rapula Province. We are also live on Spice FM in Kope, 91.1, covering Central Province as well. And Wave FM Radio in Mazabuka, covering Southern Province. We are on 98.7. We'll take phone calls now. And of course, you too can send us your comments on our Facebook page. We are live there. That is 5FM Radio Zambia. Also, I'm sure you are listening to us via online platforms. Radio Garden, Simple Radio is one of them. And indeed, Radio Box is one of those apps that you can download on your phone and listen to us from anywhere around the world. So I'll take phone calls. Please call us now on 0955-221515. Good morning.
Morning, Zach. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm okay. You're speaking to Mishek here.
Mishek, welcome to the program. Thank you for calling.
Thank you, Mr. Antonio. Good morning.
Morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. See, it's very laughable. So you are in government for 10 years.
I've never been in government. You are mistaken. This is Antonio Mwanza. I've never been in government.
I mean your party PF was in power, right? For 10 years, right?
He is a Socialist Party. Are you saying his former party?
Listen to me. I'm saying you were in PF previous, right?
I was in UPND also. So what are you saying? We can start from UPND or FDD.
Go straight to your point. Go
Get to your point. If you don't have a point, allow other people to call.
Because those questions are those.
Antonio Umfwa. In 10 years, Mwalimu Power, much geographical survey. Abanen Batampa at Chikatabe. You think I don't think. Umfwa Antonio. Mwalandati, Mwareku constituency Abankan, Yabam Sokotoni Tef. Atuti Mwadila. Zakaro?
Yes, we can hear you.
No road, no shine, but you are busy boasting that you have constructed.
Musokotwan has been an MP for that constituency for more than 10 years. So what are you saying? What has he been doing for 10 years?
I'm saying PF was in power for 10 years. But this is why you have continued losing these by-elections. Because of arrogance, and you are the kind of leaders who are powerful. Insonye ubuntu mrefa tumfire mwati ati impia ishashe ku fio ni 400 million US dollars ubute na bupeo bati 800 mfa tumfire mwe abantu ababufiso what can come on otherwise talk to itungushi ngaimo to take up for 10 years ila time ila guys meposo kama.
Thank you, Meshek.
It's got nothing to say. But Meshek, I've never been in government. I've never run your government. So I think you should say those things to President Lungu, not me.
Let's take another one. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Your name, and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mr. Chikulabi.
Yes, Mr. Chikulabi.
Antonio, how are you?
Fine, Chikulabi. Mwaka bwanja sogole.
Njala mavuto njala ziko ino lina ma problem. You know Antonio Mwaza, ziko ino penyenda ili moto. I'm sure I didn't expect that our Republican president can fail in such a manner has failed. $6 billion which they have borrowed, nothing which they can point out as even development in Echita. But they are busy complaining to others, no, mnakongola, drama, mnakongola. But themselves, they are borrowing. If they put in drama $6 billion, if you can look at corruption in his government, Vane, in Boma is that you will get Go to the FIC report. 61 billion is on drama, but a facility will malite to the Murudisheti. Wakani wakwendo gula na malite. Mkawafunza ukishitari subsidize unga atia isiri bendaram. But in drama zizukula ndikazienda. This country is very, very rich. They've got resources like the way you have said. But people who are handling our resources, they don't even care. They are just sharing themselves. Period. If you look at streets like God, in drama there's an airport. Must tax ama dollars. But paribe vabele vichitika. What we want here is let the government use our resources prudently. Everyone should benefit. How can you give tax holidays from the mine, then you come and charge more tax to the Zambians? Today we are just hearing that Okukulasa Valundira our Chosako, Kumalaiti Valundira our Chosako. You are Pishanchito Squadarundira Kamalaiti. Boma Banji. Kameti funa Antonio Mwaza iwe. Apa manja wachoni lati kutivaenda. Because varibu vamina wanachita. Vamina wanatuza utuvaza sevenzi lapo wakangiwa. Unga wanatuza 50 kwati. Today 400. The traza wanatuza 250. Today 1.2. Ngoma ya banji. Tifuna apa. Tifuna boma imini nga 7Z. Milandu zikazeka za mini ziliku hizi. Wako ngachewa zati. Hii issue ya tribalism. Mundu akakambako chabe wayanga tujakatani. Then you are menasara achinkazikamba you are free. Very unfortunate for our Republicans.
Thank you, Mr. Chikulabi. Thank you. Let me take one more on 0955-221515. Please also, if you'd like to send us your messages, send them to 0761-912493. I'll take your calls. This is 5FM Betting Issue. Good morning.
Good morning, Zachary.
How are you today?
No, I'm good. General Chongo calling from Kabwe.
General Chongo, long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. How is Lusaka?
Lusaka is fine. And how is Kabwe?
No, Kabwe, we are moving as even if we are starving.
Please make your comment.
Yeah, Antonio Mwanga, how are you?
I'm very fine, General Maukabwanje.
No, Antonio Tauka. Let me add my voice, Antonio Mwanga. You have spoken very much well. Now, what we need, we as Zambians who are passing through a lot of these crises, which we are passing through this time, we need to organize and to be united. Each on them you have Antonio Mwanza, where Kafie Imweva Socialist Party, and you mark my words, you cannot kick out this government in 2026 unless you go for alliance. Because what I've said is because you are Antonio, me, I'm from Eastern Malambo, you are my brother. I've just have a name of Uchongo. I'm from Jumbe Malambo. So what we need is this government to go. Because Isho Chava, Avapina, Vachiribale Churila Kova Antonio Mwanza. Navakankala, they are becoming rich every now and then. So this government is not listening to the poor people of Zambia. The questions are simple. They promised the Zambian people to eat 3 meals a day. Is it happening? They said you will not go to bed until eating. Are we eating? So Antonio Mwanza na papata sana. Unless we unite, we go for an alliance. That can be the way forward because in a panondela and Antonio, me putting up 3 meals a day. What about 80 years and above, an old woman who went to 04 to go and vote? They have been neglected by this government. They have a song of saying that the previous government, they claimed a lot of money. But what about them? You are measuring about 6.7 billion. Where are this gone? What have they done with that money? Those are the questions. Now, me, as I conclude, what is always comes in my mind? People, they are praising that the government have delivered. Where have they delivered? Even a single CDF increased by 30.6. It has failed to deliver. What are they saying? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chongo from Kabwe, for that contribution. Maybe respond. Be brief so that I can take some more.
Yes, I'll be very quick. First, ziko moba Mishek, ziko moba Chikubabe, ziko moba General Chongo. And I just want to make a summary. Ba Mishek, yo area yo ya repeater. And let me use this opportunity to say this. Iseti dabwa, ba president wanaamba ma press briefing kukambisana na Mazambians. Manje ba president baleka ma press briefing. Ma press briefing ya ba president ngati baenda ku project ni ukamba cha bepa issue ya imingalato. Ni ukamba pa issue ya ma politics. Ba president, your job is to deal with the issues facing the Zambian people. Ba president sebenzerani pa issue ya njala. Bantu wakufa mziko. 1.6 million Zambians are facing starvation. The president mchitama politics. 3 million Zambians are in need of humanitarian aid. The president mchitama politics. Exchange rate. Mnaruza bantu wa Zambia. Ine mukani votera 10 hours. Dollar ichoka kwacha 10 kwacha to $1 by 14 hours. Lero exchange rate in 27 kwacha per dollar. Fuel wa president mwakangiwa. Mnalo kuchita mathematics president kuleta vimagrafu mwebreza vimakalculata muna mabantu no inenikabwera la PF wakuba 3 kwacha inenikabwera fuero izankala 12 kwacha ma president fuero lero ni 35 kwacha ya 12 kwacha fuero yanda kuti load shedding a president anali kuchita bosti we have finished load shedding within a year we have finished load shedding hope busy. Are you load shedded? We're finished within a year. We are being load shedded for 12 hours, and this is just the beginning. Zambians must know the load shedding will become worse. It will become worse. It's now 12 hours. I know these people, they take Zambians for granted. They think we don't.
It will become
read.
worse because of
Yes.
what?
First of all, because one, they have continued exporting power. Even when we don't have, they have continued to export. And then the water levels will continue to recede. It's dry season and there's a drought. It will continue to recede. So it will become worse. And remember, this is a government which in May told us, the minister in charge of energy, Bakapala, issued a press statement and said there will be no load shedding because government has put in place measures to deal with the issues of load shedding. We have already gone into contracts to import power in case we have any shortages. Instead, they have put up contracts to export power when they have shortages. And somebody will tell you, no, but these contracts are ongoing. There's force majeure at law. Each one of that contract can be deferred. It can be cancelled. It can be deferred under the circumstances we are in. And this is what we want them to do. We want them to cancel these contracts that they have signed to export electricity until we have enough electricity to satisfy the domestic need. We expect the president to be talking about the specific measures he is putting in place as head of state to deal with the 3 million Zambians that are in need of a humanitarian aid, the 1.6 million Zambians that are in need of food. We expect the president to be telling us the specific issues he's putting on to make sure that we deal with the problem of fuel prices. We deal with the problem of load shedding. We deal with the problem of increased rates and levies. This government, through the Minister of Finance, Bastumbeko Msokotwane, has increased the rates and levies on everything. Mwende kuratsa lero, varatsa vakana kubweza mitengo za new. Vakana. Kufaka mitengo is an issue of a button. Nukutinika chabe tin tin ti is a computer. Mutinikamo ma prices. Varatsa vakana. Va government vanachita issue statement tachita reverse mitengo za kuratsa, but varatsa vakana. Vakali va charges za manager mitengo za kudala. Why? Because they don't take this government seriously. If they had respect for this government, if they knew that the government was being sincere, Ratsa would have reversed those prices. But Ratsa has not reversed the prices. And we are calling upon Ratsa to reverse the prices, to reverse all the rates, to reverse all the levies with immediate effect, because the government has already given that instruction. There's a 61.7 billion kwacha, 61.7 billion kwacha that has come from the Financial Intelligence Center report. Just in the first quarter of 2024, 61.7 billion kwacha ya solar externalized, taken out of the economy. The president, he told the Zambian people.
Zach Banda, how are you? Your name?
Ajagwarungu batumangira road weather road kutundu mwezi road inaenda na manzi siniziva kuti angati pamene mvula mujipali task to the people who be issuing my head of speech manje nifuna bachite babwere palorere ino mulina mpamvu kuti mukakamba huko bizanzeka nifuna mubauzeko ba president babwere palorere ngati UPND sapumu balekele na betu baja abantu balina malai chani I think ijankanija bonse bayimbera pa media. Number 2, nkani ya ku yaro dishedini aba bantu nanga malaiti yamene bagulisa ku vyalo huko bachosa mu manzi yati ngita mine ndifuna kuzilisisa maningi kuti ngati manzi zona malaiti ne bagulisa ku vyalo yachoka mu manzi mwatu muja nishi badabwela che kutipanisha aba bantu mukayangana na ndrama zene zichitika mu chalo muno 61 billion is missing and drama wayona 61 billion kudala ni 61 trillion hizo za kudala hizo drama hizo ba Antoni Mwanza manje mukayangana hizo drama zeni missing kuti baike bambegula ma machine ya ma hospital kili na scanning paja ku Unilab ni hospital y'abantu benangoija kapende bamwenye bene bake muone mene bapangira ndalama baje ngati government iyo drama yamene zisoba hizo bakatenga drama bambo wika bapanga hospital yama test monga ida Unilab iri kuja ku Roadspark vantu vovutika vambiri vari bendalama ichi scanning mupedza ati ni 3000 something ati no vanima vachite chani ndirama zingoenda kunima ushe ava vantu vatiganizira chani not even ati vinafa vonse vintu muma UTH mamashini yonse anafa yakutani kukaindopimisa tinoviri down varibe ndarama zokonzera but ndarama zokuti vaje vatumise kuziano kwinango vari nazo
Zikomo Francis
in our country. Is it fair, Anthony Manda? Now UPND
Zikomo Francis, Zikomo Zambek. So let me take one more call and then I'll give you an opportunity to respond on 0955-221515. Good morning.
Good morning, Razak.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Fine, thank you. Your name's and where are you calling us from?
My name is Mr. Evans calling from Tanzania.
Mr. Evans, from where?
Okay. Antonio,